Oh my goodness, look at that little tongue. I have the extreme pleasure of getting to meet a Massasauga rattlesnake. So this here is a fox snake. The one that we just came across here is a blue-spotted salamander. Ow! Oh, look at them go. How do I smell? Hi, I'm Danielle Dufault, and you're watching Animalogic. Today, I'm at Scales Nature Park in Orillia, Ontario. And this time, we're looking for some of the little fellas around here. So this here is a fox snake, and they are expert tree climbers, which is why it's very comfortable just slithering along on my arms and hands here. They're extremely muscular and have no problem slithering up trees, chasing birds up them, and catching them too. Just climbing me like a tree. It's no problem to them at all. Let's see if he'll hop aboard. And they are endemic to Ontario, so this beauty is actually right here at home. They live in more forested areas, usually close to a source of water, like a lake. This part of Ontario is kind of perfect territory for them. With this kind of body composure, they're better at wrapping themselves around tree branches and hoisting themselves up with all those amazing muscles. How do I smell? A lot of people are scared of snakes because they think that they're slimy. They have no idea how wrong they are. In fact, they're just incredibly smooth. They almost feel as though they've been polished, and it's a really pleasant sensation to touch. That smoothness helps them to better grip onto things and to allow their bodies to slide on surfaces like bark or across the grass. So their scales themselves are what give them grip, but as soon as they tighten those scales together, it creates a smooth surface that they can just glide on. So they grip with the edge and then glide on the surface. It's really impressive, and it feels amazing. So don't be fooled, these guys are not slimy. Oh, I love those underbelly scales. My favorite thing about this snake are its beautiful belly scales. In the sun, they iridesce, just like a rainbow, almost like an oil slick. Look at this fox snake. His belly's as iridescent as my nails. I'm just trying to look good like the snake, but I don't even hold a candle to this. The eastern fox snake, like this one here, is already pretty big, but it's about to get a lot bigger. This species can grow to about 2 meters long, which makes them the second largest snake in Ontario, only beaten by the black rat snake. So there are two populations in Ontario of the eastern fox snake. One of them is the Carolinian population, which is unfortunately endangered, and the other is the Georgian Bay population, which is currently threatened. Now, it's sad to say, but that's probably due to the habitat loss that they're suffering, but also due to the fact that they unfortunately get mistaken for Massasauga rattlesnakes. Now, Massasauga rattlesnakes are a venomous species, unlike these ones here. These here really pose no threat whatsoever to humans, as they don't have any venom. As you can see, it's pretty friendly. Just likes, giving me a little hug with all his muscles. He's fine. There's a lot of different amphibian species that live in Ontario, but the one that we just came across here is a blue-spotted salamander. Let's go take a look. There's about 12 species of salamanders here in Ontario. One really cool thing about the blue-spotted salamander is that its tail secretes this noxious liquid. And if it's threatened, it can curl its tail up over its back and kind of flick it back and forth. And if it's lucky, it can flick off some of that noxious liquid onto its predators or whatever happens to be threatening it. So, pretty cool self-defense. I didn't know that salamanders could do that. Now I know. Keep a safe distance. You can come across salamanders in wooded areas, usually close to a body of water of some sort, because they like it where it's moist, damp, and dark. Salamanders prefer these dark, moist areas because they also find what they eat in these areas, such as insects and worms. Your best chance of finding one might be flipping rocks or moving stumps under trees, but I do highly advise not to do these things because by doing so, you are disturbing their habitats. This is where they live. Would you like it if somebody came and upended your home? I don't think so. I wonder if we'll see the salamander mating dance. Doing a little wiggle wiggle. They are pretty speedy when they want to get away. Oh, look at them go. I have the extreme pleasure of getting to meet a Massasauga rattlesnake. These guys are Ontario's only venomous snake. She's being handled by a professional. If you see one in the wild, please leave it alone. So we're all pretty familiar with the way that snakes move in that big winding S shape. That's called serpentine motion. That's usually how snakes will travel when they need to get somewhere quick or, chase after something or even run away. But this Massasauga rattlesnake right now is demonstrating rectilinear motion, which is really interesting. It's actually crawling itself forward, almost in a straight line, using its belly scales. Pretty fascinating. You can tell that he's paying attention to what's around him. He's being very cautious. This individual that we have here in front of us, it seems to have quite a tiny rattle, but that doesn't really tell you anything about how old the snake is. Every time that the snake sheds its skin, it actually leaves a segment of dried skin behind that builds up onto that rattle. But also, those segments end up dropping and ripping off or eventually getting replaced through time. So you can never really count the age by the size of a rattle. I need to keep an eye on it because I need to keep myself at least a meter away from it at all times. You don't want to let them get too close. Also for social distancing, I don't want to pass any germs onto this poor sweet snake. So the goal here, if you ever do come across a Massasauga rattlesnake, do not try and make it rattle. That is the last thing that you want to do. It might be what they're known for, but to try and get it to demonstrate is what would put you and the snake at risk. Despite their reputation of being a dangerous snake with venom, they really don't pose much of a threat whatsoever. Only as much threat as you choose to impose upon them, as most things go in nature. The Massasauga rattlesnake only has 2 human deaths on record in all of Ontario for as long as we have recorded. So you can't really say that they're an extremely dangerous snake. In fact, the only reason they would ever try and bite a human is if you were to encroach upon it. Out of the 2 deaths that have occurred in Ontario from a Massasauga rattlesnake, the last one was over 50 years ago. They're absolutely not the monsters that they might be perceived as. As you can see behind me, it's barely longer than a foot and a half, and they don't get much bigger than this. This is about where they top out. Oh, it's beautiful. Look at that black belly. So what differentiates the eastern Massasauga rattlesnake from the western Massasauga rattlesnake is the fact that they have this beautiful dark black belly, whereas the western species has a brighter, lighter color. The eastern Massasauga rattlesnake is actually much rarer than the western because the ranges for the snakes in the west are much larger. So the eastern Massasauga rattlesnake actually has 4 populations here in Ontario. Unfortunately, 2 of those are endangered and 2 of them are threatened. Most of this is due to habitat loss, as usual, because human populations encroach further and further upon all the natural habitats. But also because of roadside kills, because those roads, unfortunately, are crossing right through their territories, right through their habitats, and they do have to cross those roads to just live as a snake does. And so finding their way from point A to point B might just land them under a truck trailer's tire. Another reason why their population is in decline is because of persecution. Unfortunately, to be a venomous snake is a bit of a cursed existence, because you become reviled for what you are and what you use for your own hunting strategies. And as I said before, the fact that they're venomous really bears no effect on humans, so long as we give them their own distance, respect them as animals. Luckily, there are conservation efforts that are aiming to lower the persecution of these snakes and have people come to terms with them as fairly peaceful creatures that, just use this as a hunting strategy. So what should I talk about next? Please let me know in the comments and be sure to subscribe for new episodes every week. Thanks for watching and see ya!